No matter where you believe it or not, Senator Tuberville, this is doing great damage to our military. I don't say that lightly.
This power is extraordinary that we're given as individual senators, but it's incumbent upon us to use it in a reasonable way and not to abuse it in such a way that we end up putting in harm's way the capabilities of our military and the well-being of our men and women in uniform.
These are the people who were kicking in doors in Fallujah, shooting terrorists in the face. And we have people saying they're desk jockeys and they're not warriors? That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's insulting.
Better late than never. Hi again, everyone. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. A remarkable scene there on the Senate floor last night as members of Senator Tommy Tuberville's party finally said enough. For 9 long months, everything they described has been going on, as the senator from Alabama has been holding up military promotions, 375 of them so far, in protest over the military's travel policy for members seeking abortion health care. And after months and months and months of what the Washington Post describes as simmering Republican frustration, a few members of his own party reached a breaking point. Last night's back and forth lasted almost 5 hours. Tommy Tuberville's Republican colleagues bringing up 61 individual military nominations, and Tommy Tuberville objected to each and every one.
We have done the best that we can to honor the request of a fellow senator that these nominations be brought to the floor and voted on individually. And I really respect men of their word. I do not respect men who do not honor their word.
She's looking at you, Tommy. Tuberville's political stunt has left our nation's military without confirmed leaders in many, many, many key positions. At one point over the summer, 3 branches of the military operated without confirmed leadership. The Pentagon estimates that by the end of the year, about 3/4 of the generals and admirals in the Defense Department, 650 of the 852, will be impacted. We told you on this show yesterday about the hospitalization of the top Marine Corps general. He was forced to work 2 jobs at once because his number 2 had not been confirmed. Today, they sought to remedy that. Lieutenant General Christopher Mahoney was confirmed as Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, along with 2 members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Voting on these positions individually was a step Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was forced to take after the general's health scare, and knowing that crucial military roles cannot remain open as our ally in the Middle East is currently at war. So despite the rebuking we saw of Tuberville last night by some Republicans, can't forget that it has been those members in that party that has enabled Tommy Tuberville to keep up this significant risk to our national security for months now.
And again, I just thought of this. The Chinese admirals and their military, they're probably watching this debate right now going, I can't believe my luck. I can't believe our luck. Maybe we should attack Taiwan tomorrow. We're going to look back at this episode and just be stunned at what a national security suicide mission this became.
His words, and not just the Chinese, but the Russians and the bad actors in the Middle East. For sure watching. It's where we start the hour with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Iraq War veteran and Chief Executive Officer of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, Allison Jaslow, is here. Plus, retired U.S. Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel and co-founder of Operation Saving Democracy, Amy McGrath, is here, who deserves a whole lot of credit for putting this on our radar and never letting this issue go. The editor-at-large for The Bulwark, Charlie Sykes, is here. And national investigative reporter for The Washington Post, Carol Leonnig, is here with us. Let me start with you, Amy. Your reaction to what unfolded last night.
Well, number one, I couldn't agree with Senator Sullivan more. This has been a national security concern. It's been a national security concern for 9 months now, and I'm really happy to see several Republican senators finally stand up, as you mentioned. But I'd like to remind people what this is all about, if you take it back. This is about Senator Tuberville not wanting women in the military who have served their country, who wear the uniform, to be able to cross state lines. So if they're stationed in Alabama, he does not want them to be able to cross state lines to access reproductive health care. That's what this is about. You're hurting our national security, hurting military families during a time when we have two major regional wars going on, all because of that. And his Republican colleagues, as you mentioned, have sort of allowed it to happen. Silence for 9 months.
And we'll get to the politics in a second. I take that back. Let's do the politics right now, Amy. Abortion has the support of 65 to 70% of all Americans that it should be legal. I haven't seen polling on whether people think active duty military should be allowed to access health care from wherever they are. But isn't this the same access to health care they'd have if they were stationed overseas?
Absolutely. I mean, the military, it's going to protect troops. This is really important. And it's not just, this is women who have served our country who maybe come back from combat tours and maybe they want to have children, but they have a pregnancy where their life is at risk. The military is going to help them get the care that they need. And if that means if you're stationed in a country that doesn't allow that care, they're going to help you get to a place back here in the United States where you can get that care. Now we have that in the United States. If you're stationed in Alabama, you can't get the care that you need. So what the military is doing is simply allowing you to cross state lines to get that care and helping you to be able to do it. It's just about protecting those people, those women who serve our country. That's it. But that's how crazy these right-wing Republican senators and members of Congress are, that they want to try to impose their ideological views not only on the country, but on those women who serve our country to protect them.
Allison, I can't help but thinking that this dynamic for women in the military goes next to or on the shelf alongside the tragedy of men and women coming back from combat tours and not receiving adequate mental health care, not receiving adequate treatment for PTSD or other traumas that they've suffered on the battlefield, that this is the ultimate disregard for the men and women who do the most to protect our country and our way of life.
Yeah, I mean, what you've got here is one senator putting his personal political agenda ahead of our troops, ahead of our veterans, and definitely damaging national security. And unfortunately, that has been the case for a long period of time. I'm glad that senators finally got fed up as well, but it almost, it seems like it took a conflict in Israel where all of a sudden an abstract concept is no more because we don't have a CENTCOM commander there. And also having a Marine Corps commandant have to have a heart attack, and people really have to accept what that means and how Senator Tuberville has not set us up for success here. So I'm really happy that, his members of his own party are stepping in here and getting some resolution around this. But it's a real damn shame that troops and our veterans have been dragged through the mud as a part of this, political standoff.
Allison, someone was explaining to me that no other institution in American civic life is as tied to the chain of command. So it's not just several hundred promotions. It's several hundred promotions and every single human being in the chain of command that is damaged. Can you tell us, one, if that rings true, and two, what is the impact of halting all military promotions?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's the individual life and livelihood of the person whose promotion is being held up. In fact, when I actually confronted Senator Tuberville myself over the summer, those are the people that I felt like he wasn't speaking to. He speaks to his colleagues and to reporters on Capitol Hill, but didn't have to look into the face of those people whose individual lives and livelihoods were being held up. But on the macro level in the military, it just creates uncertainty from the top down. And so, people want to know who their leaders are. They are desiring leadership, and all of that is compromised in a stunt like this.